Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for attending today's April memorial service, but also today we're commemorating the birthday of Shakyamuni Buddha, who was born on April 8th in the year 463 before the Common Era. Each time we gather together like this, we ring the kansho, the bell outside, to let people know it's the beginning of the service is about to begin. And David and I were commenting how when the bell is rung, we hear the rooster next door answering. So it's like a calling and answering going on, which is part of our Watsonville tradition, I guess. I hope that rooster lives a long and healthy life. As I mentioned, today is Hanamatsuri, and so as you came into the door, you received a flower. And we'll be reading the names of families observing memorial in the month of April. So you can come up and pour sweet tea over the baby statue of the Buddha and place the flower on the table here. Those who are not observing a memorial this month can do that at the end of the service. For the sweet tea, it's called kambutsu, or bathing the baby Buddha in sweet tea. And you'll be able to do that at the end of the service. So I'd like to call up our minister's assistant, David Correa, to share with us an opening reading.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Please join me in Gasho. All about her were Ashoka blossoms. In delight, she reached her right arm out to pluck a branch, and as she did so, a prince was born. All expressed their heartfelt delight with the glory of the queen and her princely child. Heaven and earth rejoiced. This Memorial Day was the 8th day of April. The joy of the king was extreme, and he named the child Siddhartha, which means every wish fulfilled. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Okay, at this time we're going to do a short chant called the Kambutsuge, which is the gatha on bathing the Buddha image. And you'll see it in your program, Kambutsuge. And the first line I will chant, and then everybody else will join and chant together the second line. Third line I will chant, and everyone will join in on that fourth line, etc. Kambutsuge. 가공간목쇼녀라이 저지쇼공그덕주 저지쇼공그덕주 거적슈저려리그 거적슈저려리그 너셔녀라이 저허신 너셔녀라이 Nyorai Joshin. Today, on the occasion of the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha and the April Watsonville Buddhist Temple Shotsuki Hoyo Memorial Service, we now bathe all the Tathagatas whose pure wisdoms adorned with innumerable virtues. They cause sentient beings of the 5 periods of decay to be separated from their sufferings and together attain the pure Dharma body of the Tathagata. Namandavas, 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 Namandavas. Thank you. I'd like to now read the names of families who are observing Memorial in the month of April. As I mentioned, when your family name is read, please come forward, present your flower, and pour sweet tea over the statue of the baby Buddha. For Aaron Boone, for Bob Daitoku, for Nichi Eto, for Seiko Fuji, for Tamotsu Fujimura, for George Sakai Fujita, Kazuo Fujita, for Nancy Miyako Hirahara, for Walter Hashimoto, for Haruso Higaki, for Kazuko Higaki, for Hisa Hirano, for Teruko Hiwatashi, for George Hoshiyama, for Henry Ikeda, for Itsuyo Inokuchi, for Brad Roy Kaita, for Yoshie Kaita, for Setsuko Kajihara, for Sanemi Kamimura, for Haruko Kamitani, for Takanoshin Himoto, for Kazuo Kikuchi, for Helen Kobana, for Akira Kodama, for Henry Koka, for John Kurasaki, for John Masao Kurimoto, for Gunzo Mayamura, for Toro Matano, for Nihei Matsui, for Alice Matsumoto, for Shio Matsumoto, for Seki Mine, for Mitsuo Misumi, for Richard Miyama, for Haruye Nagatoishi, for Ruby Nakamura, for Dennis Nishihara, for Eki Mitao, for Frank Mitsuo Okamoto, for Takeru Okamoto, for Miyoko Ono, for Yutaka Sakai, for Hisae Sakakihara, for Kina Seda, for Tony Shimonishi, for Tsunae Shingai, for Yukio Shingai, for Mikie Shirachi, for Francis Sugimoto, for Masaru Sukekane, for Kozo Suruki, for Chikako Takata, for Yasu Takei, for Akira Bill Tao, for Hisai Tao, for Junko Toriyumi, for Kakichi Tsuda, for Sunny Tsudama, for Yoshihisa Tsuji, for Yukiko Tsuji, for Naoko Ura, for Sawano Ura, for Nora Nobuko Ueda, for Mary Uematsu, for Roy Uematsu, for Louis Waki, for Chiyoko Yagi, for Mitomu Yamaguchi, for Asayo Yamanishi, for Yonekichi Yamaoka, for Hinzo Yonekura, for Edward Yoshida, for Hatsue Yoshida, for Kazuye Yoshida. also invite families who are observing a memorial in the month of April and did not call a family name, you're welcome to come up and do Kambutsu this time. And I'll ask Kenny Kusamoto to please come up and represent families who could not be here today. Much, everyone. At this time, I'd like to ask you all to open up your large purple service book to page 67 and join us in the chanting of the Juni Dine.
이다 센료석성 사이 힘이 매우 안나고 무료부시 슈기네 언제기 신전요 센노 샤마 당연요 서구 여모 그저냐 그쇼랭게 공가 전하이미다손 낸센낸 전여망가 이거연여 생리지가 전여 탱그그시나 공가 전하이미나손 안남 전하이 간지지유 슈즈메서허셔건 너브그게 너마케완 홍아 전하이 미나손 무비무그 고쇼녀 슈덕그 캡캐스녀 거그 저사리야 그도그 지사이 공아 전하이 미나손 제법영원보사슈 의려셔마저 산단 이셔슈저 간리기지유 옹아 전하이 미나손 홈타이 호켄지쇼케 생원 쇼저메나이사 오히사전여 센노 오가 전하이 미나손 제포쇼라이 쇼부시 갱겐진스시안락 생고성겐적응요 공아 전하이 미나손 저응저응나도 야근여 스윙하스는 여로 이주세포음면지 오가 전하이 미나손 이선부 세스무 아금여 야금은 연인 나그도그 주님 시신교이선 오가 전하이 미나손 이선무려 어벤교 무쇼주와 그 지식이 오조
Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Thank you. Now, if you'll all please rise and join us in the Gatha in Lumini's garden on page 175. All sound so wonderful. Please be seated. At this time, I'd like to ask our President, Joanne Kato, to please come forward and perform Kambutsu, on behalf of the temple. Thank you, Joanne. And now if you'd all turn to page 15 and join me in the reading of the Golden Chain 1. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong. May we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Thank you very much. It's so nice to see so many of you here this morning for Hanamatsuri, the flower festival. And I appreciate this opportunity, my opportunity to share with you some of my thoughts as we celebrate the birthday of Shakyamuni Buddha. I want to share with you a very short reading. It says, Shakyamuni appeared in this world and expounded the teachings of the way to enlightenment, seeking to save the multitude of beings by blessing them with this benefit that is true and real. Thus, to teach the Tathagata's primal vow is the true intent of the sutras. The name of the Buddha is its essence. Okay, we often come to temples and we might hear this reading, especially on the birthday of Shakyamuni Buddha. And sometimes when we do readings, we listen to it, but we don't grasp some of the essence behind the reading. So I want to point out two things. The primal vow is mentioned in this reading, and this is the 18th vow. The Buddha made 48 of them. The 18th vow is the vow of Nembutsu, the vow of Namo Amida Butsu. And the essence of the name, it says in this reading, is the words Namo Amida Butsu. And that is what's written on our scroll here, Namo Amida Butsu. So today we might wonder to ourselves, it's been almost 2,600 years since the Buddha was born. And we're still celebrating his birth, 2,600 years later. And we're celebrating because we are part of a lineage. We are part of a lineage that our grandparents, many of the immigrants from Japan who established this temple, brought with them this religion. They came from Japan. That teaching came from China, from Korea, from India, from the Buddha, and came to us. And so it's a lineage that we're celebrating through our grandparents, through many different countries in many years. And each year we bring out our Hanamido, it's called, the flower shrine. And we decorate it with beautiful flowers. We do this to recreate the legend of the birth of the Buddha. It reminds us of a shelter of sorts for the baby Buddha. It's covered by all these beautiful flowers. The temple that we are sitting in today, that we've inherited from our ancestors, is a shelter as well. It is a shelter for all of you. It is a shelter for the Dharma, where the teachings of the Buddha thrive and live. So the one thing that ties us together is this primal vow of Nembutsu. It's amazing that it has survived all these thousands of years and is available to us today. It's important because the Buddha realized that you and I, today, thousands of years, would be living in a world where we are less capable, let me put it that way, I won't say incapable, but less capable of practicing like he did. We are lacking the discipline to fulfill any of these vows. So he did them for us. So what does this mean for us today? Living in this century, so many years removed from the Buddha. It means for me that this is the one path, this is the only path that I'm able to embrace, to bring me peace of mind. There's no other path that works for me. So I'm very undisciplined. I have no patience. I have a mind that is mired in mud sometimes, let me put it that way. So a couple of years ago, I joined 24-hour fitness. And I thought, okay, I can go to the gym, I can work out all the time, I can get all fit, I can lose weight, my robes will fit better. So I go on a Monday, and then Wednesday rolls around, and I think to myself, what am I going to have for breakfast before I go to the gym? And then I think, well, now I got to start planning for lunch before I go to the gym. And then I start thinking about dinner. Right? So, and then I think about dessert. I think about what's on TV, what else can I do. So before I know it, the day is gone, I haven't gone to the gym, and this goes on day after day. So my point is, I have no discipline, you know, but I still feel proud about my 24-hour fitness membership. So our lack of discipline, our self-control, our inability to perfect what's called the paramitas, or the practices, like the Buddha did, you know, for me, it causes me some kind of some anxiety. I think, well, I should be going, but I'm too lazy. I'm not disciplined enough. And because of these anxieties, you know, we want some sort of peace of mind. Well, the peace of mind is found not just here, but in our everyday lives. And our founder, Shinran Shoni, he was incredible this way. He talked about how we need to cross over these anxieties, the lack of self-discipline, you know. But he used a word that meant we're pulled over. We're not just crossing over, we're pulled over to this understanding and this truth. So there is something that pulls us over. And so we have to cross over some of our anxieties, some of our obstacles that we face in our life. Growing old, being accepted, being liked, the fear of being alone, anxiety over money, over our jobs, our marriage, our children. Our anxiety is created by our thoughts and our words and our actions. So for us here, it's this nembutsu, these words, namo medabutsu, that pull us over to the other shore. Listening means not just the Dharma that we hear on Sundays, but listening to our inner voice that talks to ourselves. Sooner or later, that inner voice begins to take effect upon us, just like listening to the words of the Buddha. So our act of listening is what defines us as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. Well, we talk about gratitude a lot in our temple, but gratitude is only the result of teaching that is taking effect upon our life. We must place all diligence in listening, no matter how boring, no matter how long the sermon might be. I'm looking at my wife over here. So when the Buddha was born, he was given this name, Siddhartha. Siddhartha means wish fulfilled. This name expresses the hopes and dreams that his parents had for him. When you and I were born, we were also given names. And these names were the hopes and dreams of our parents for us. Our names contain that hope and dream. So many of us here who came up, we observed today a memorial service for a parent or a family member who had died. And in our tradition, we say they've returned to the Pure Land. They've not gone from us. They're still part of our lives. They've returned to the Pure Land. And a wonderful part of our tradition here in the temple is they receive what's called a homyo, a Buddhist name, a Dharma name. It's different from the given name that your parents gave you. And it's presented at the funeral of our loved ones. And at that moment, we are celebrating their birth, a new birth, their birth into the Pure Land of the Buddha. So we all celebrate our birthdays as adults. We maybe go out and party and have fun. When we die, we have another celebration. This is the presentation of your Buddhist name or your Dharma name. And that is your eternal name. So one of the interesting things that we see when someone dies, we have a grave or we have a niche or someplace on the urn where it has their full name, and then it has their date of birth and their date of death. And usually it's the year. In between there's a little line, and there's nothing else that tells us about the person, but just those two dates. It doesn't really define who we are. So when we ask ourselves, who are we? The answer is might be various sort of answers. It might be, I'm a minister, I'm an educator, I'm an administrator, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a bad golfer, I'm fat, I'm old, I'm grouchy, I'm a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. These are all parts of who I am, but they describe me, but they're not truly who I am. I am part physical, I am part emotional, I am part ideas and concepts. So I'm made up of a lot of different things. So as an example, if we look up in the sky and we see a cloud, and we ask that cloud, when was it born? If the cloud could answer, it would say, I really don't know when I was born. The cloud is looking at its life and would say, before I was born, I was the ocean. Before I was born, I was the water in the sea. A cloud does not come from nothing. It's only changed its form. So it was not born out of nothing. The cloud, like all things, is constantly changing its form. It will become rain, it will become snow, it will become ice. So if we had insight, could see the clouds in the snow and the rain. If we had insight, we could see the clouds in the plants and all the food that nourishes us. If we had insight, we would have a real understanding of the true nature of the cloud. So if we had the same insight, we would see that there's no real date of birth, no real date of death. There's only a continuation. And that's what we are celebrating today, the continuation of the life of Shakyamuni Buddha, who reminds us that we are here, we are Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, because of this continuation in the form of the Dharma, the words of the Buddha. So, I don't know how many times you folks might ask yourself these questions, but I ask myself this question all the time. How do we meet or encounter the Dharma? How do we meet the Buddha? No matter how many different approaches there are to addressing this, all responses to me conclude with the words Namo Amida Butsu. That's how we meet the Buddha. So what does it mean to hear these words, Nembutsu? Very simply, it means to realize that someone, the Buddha, was concerned enough to worry about us 2,600 years later. In another way, being allowed to hear the Dharma that tells us the Buddha is concerned about you and I, just like a parent who's concerned for their children. So there's something we should be mindful of. To be concerned for others. I worry about our children, I'm concerned for my wife, my brothers, my friends, so much so that I sometimes don't know what to do. And I'm sure you're all concerned for someone. And then, secondly, that others are concerned for me. They're concerned for me, about me. So very naturally, when we realize that someone is concerned about you, it makes us feel good. It makes us feel whole. We are overjoyed. This is what it means to hear the Nembutsu, to hear the Buddha, to be overjoyed that we are in the embrace of this truth of life, that someone is so concerned about us, they're always thinking about us. So I want to end with a story that I share at memorial services sometimes, and it talks about those who are concerned for others, especially our parents who are concerned for us. It's about a well-known minister in Japan named Reverend Saiga. He was raised by his mother. His father died when he was very, very young. And he wrote an article once, and it was entitled, "The Legs That Made My Father Cry." And it's kind of an unusual title, "The Legs That Made My Father Cry." And then he had a subtitle that said, "Whenever I wash my legs, I'm able to meet my father." When Reverend Saiga was 5, 6 years old, he came down with polio. And he has very vague memories of that experience, but his family said that in the afternoon, he was running. And by evening, he couldn't walk. So he spent a year in the hospital, went through all kinds of therapy and electric therapy for his legs. After 1 year, he left the hospital, but he was permanently disabled. One leg was shorter. His left leg was shorter, thinner, and he always walked with a limp as a result. He said there are many incidences when he was young. During his school days, he was teased by the other students in school because of his limp. But of all those incidences, he remembers one very clearly. One day he was walking home, or limping home, and his school supplies fell on the ground, scattered around. And some students behind him came running up and swooped everything up, his books, his pencils, his notebooks. And he thought they were helping him, but they ran away with all of his stuff. He tried to chase them, but he had this limp. He couldn't catch them. Every time he got close to them, they would run further away. And they were taunting him. They were saying this word, chimba, chimba, which I don't know what the English translation of chimba is, but I thought it meant cute, but it's kind of a taunting, you little something or other, I guess. But they were taunting him. Right? So as he limped towards them, they would run away and repeat over and over again. And this went on for a while. Finally, he gave up. He went home, and he was crying. He told his mother and his father what happened, and he thought that his father would go catch those boys, punish them, get his stuff back. Instead, his father took him to a nearby pier. They lived near the ocean. Sat him down. They had their legs dangling over the edge of the pier. And his father says to him, "Your legs must hurt you. You protect it because it hurts you, don't you? And you limp because you protect it. But you get angry if others tease you when you limp. If you get angry, then don't limp." Reverend Saiga replied, "I'm not limping because I want to." And his father says, "It doesn't matter. You must train yourself not to limp. Walk on the toes of that foot if you have to. You can do it." Right then, Reverend Saiga's thoughts were, how cruel my father is. Doesn't he understand what I'm going through with this leg? He should know how I feel. But soon he felt his father's arm on his shoulder. And as a reaction, he looked up and looked at his father's face. And his father's entire face was covered in tears. He was sobbing. Reverend Saiga said that as a young boy, that was the first time he met the Buddha. The first time he met the Buddha. By seeing the tears of genuine concern on his father's face, he felt that the words he hates so much were actually an expression of his father's concern, his father's love. And he felt overjoyed. He felt lucky. He said that even today, whenever he washes that leg, he's able to meet his father. Those legs were the legs that caused his father to cry. Thus, he was able to truly meet his father. Through his father's concern, he was able to meet the Buddha. So Reverend Saiga's story is the story of the Dharma entering his life. And for us today, it may not be the same, but it's not unusual when we become fully aware that others are worried for us, that others are concerned for us. We become overjoyed. That's when we hear the words Namo Amida Butsu. I'm so grateful that the Buddha is concerned for us, that others are concerned for me. So the Buddha's birth is not just the beginning of his life, but the beginning of a continuation that we are experiencing right now through the Dharma. And we celebrate that day thousands of years later. Thank you very much. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. And now if you'll please rise and join us in the Gatha Light Blossoms on page 208 of the large purple service book. Sorry. Thank you. Please be seated. And once again, I'd like to call on our minister's assistant, David Korea, for a closing reading.
Please join me in Gasho. Buddha nature is indeed the most excellent characteristic of human nature. Buddha teaches that although in human nature there may be endless varieties of men and women, there is no discrimination with regard to Buddha nature. Pure gold is procured by melting ore and removing all impure substances. If people melt the ore of worldly passion and egoism, they will be able to recover the same pure Buddha nature. Namo Amiru. Namo Amiru. Namo Amiru. Namo Tathas.
Thank you, David. This will conclude our Hanamatsuri and our April Shotsuki service today. I want to thank all of you for attending today. And just very quickly, I want to take a moment to thank Kim and Perry Yoshida for setting up the Hanamido, videoing, and setting up everything.
Oh, Ryoko too.
Ryoko Koizuki for setting up the Hanamido, and Otsumami and the flower arrangement on the altar. And all those, Tad and Joanne as well, for their help. Hope I didn't miss anyone. Oh, David and Isabel Correa, who are minister's assistants in Monterey, are here today visiting and helping. We appreciate them. And please, those who have not had a chance to come up and pour sweet tea, I'll invite you to come up at the end of the service and offer your flower and pour sweet tea over the baby Buddha. And we are serving refreshments in the conference room to my left. So as you go out this door and turn right down the hall, we'll be serving refreshments there. So I hope you'll be able to join us. Any other announcements? Nope. Okay, thank you very much. Please come up and come to and stay home.